Hey there, my peeps, and welcome back to Get Going Fast, the place where we get into this excellent hobby AI and hopefully sort of a quick and efficient manner in which you might actually learn something. So today we are going to look at Framepack, which is just an absolutely, I think this is the game changer of the week. Absolutely excellent app. This is getting the it's getting the normie into the game. Okay, it's not perfect, but it's magic. You know, you've probably heard me say this before, that there's a place where with AI and the tech, we're still kind of in the computer sciencey mode, right? Like there's a level of, you got to be able to understand certain things at a certain level and know codes and this kind of stuff. But then it reaches the level of magic. It's like the TV. Like, no one knows how a TV works, but you just hit it and it works. So this is the kind of app that comes out that starts to bridge the gap between the science side and the magic side. This is by Elias Veal. He's the same guy that gave us SD Forge, same guy that gave us Focus. And really what he seems to do is to take these big level concepts and bring them down to almost plug and play level technology, and for a large amount of people. So of course, a lot of times we are, here's some videos, a lot of times people are always asking, what can I do with this? Can I do this with my computer? Do I have enough VRAM to be able to run this? And it's like, unfortunately, a lot of this stuff you don't, because something will come out, but it's like you got to have an enormous amount of speed to be able to use it. But again, he's brought this down to the masses. It's not perfect. It still can take a long time to be able to generate different things, but you can run this down to 6 gigabytes, and it really is almost near plug and play. You just got to get it, extract it, and it will work. Now, there's going to be things that we can do to it that isn't that amazing? There's things that we can do to it to speed it up that aren't going to come straight out of the box, but for the most part, all you really got to do is just download this, get this going, and you're able to create amazing stuff with it. So we're going to get into that today. I'm going to show you 3 different ways of getting this down. We're going to download just the base installer. Real simple to actually get it. Just a couple different clicks. So that's going to be easy. I'm going to show you how to get the accelerators. So there's things called attention masks, right? So it focuses on the important things. Like, let's take this image of myself here. You can see behind over here, you got the Get Going Fast sign over here. Let's say we needed to do a lot of work on this. Well, that Get Going Fast is always going to stay the same. The stuff that's going to be moving is me, my body, all this stuff. Same with this window over here. That's always going to stay the same. So attention masks say, instead of spending a lot of resource on changing things that don't change, right? Recreating things that don't change. Let's focus our resource on the things that do change, you move, the hands, the eye faces, the handsomely rugged good looks, that kind of stuff. And so that's where our things like our flash attention, our sage attention come in. So we're going to also show you how to manually install those into your app. And then, of course, we're going to talk about the Get Going Fast page, where you can just download a quick installer from there and just get going within minutes. You don't even have to worry about all of this. But before we do that, I do want to thank you so much for liking the channel and subscribing. We've been growing at great numbers. It's fantastic. Cool community we're building. There's a lot of haters out there. And, it's good when we build a community of people that actually are not haters, that just kind of want to do the stuff. And the more of us there are, the more we can just kind of ignore those people. And so I appreciate you going out there and sharing with people and letting them know about the page, letting them know about AI. Listen, we've got gift subscriptions over on the Get Going Fast page. If you go join up as a Farmhand member, you get all of this stuff for free. You can just play with this whenever you want. You just get something, download it, look at the code, do all that stuff. But it's a lot funner when you have, it's a lot more fun when you have someone to do it with. So you can also get gift subscriptions like $10 instead of buying someone a double bacon cheeseburger from Carl's Jr. What you do is you get them a subscription, say, hey, let's do AI for the month, you know. So anyway, thank you so much for doing that. I appreciate you as always. Be sure to hit us up on the Instagram. You can find us on X. You can find us over on Reddit. We've got a Get Going Fast page over there, and we ain't haters. We're going to thumb up everything that you post on there because we think you're awesome. Hit us up on the Discord. You're welcome to come join over there. That's kind of more where we chat and get get more personal, with able to connect on individual levels, and you get to connect with each other. So we're around all day long. But with that in mind, let's get on to Framepack, because Framepack is state of the art. This is the big one. It's the big one for the week. It's going to be the big one for the next several months. It is a solid offering that is going to stick around for a long time. So excited to get into it. Yo. Alrighty, so what we are going to do is we're going to pop on over to the internet here, and we're going to be covering 3 different installs for this. This is over at the Get Going Fast page. You can get here by going to getgoingfast.pro, and you're going to find this thing here. And what we have, I'm going to walk you through each one of these, okay? But well, maybe the 2 of them. So we've got what's called the importable install. This is the easiest install. This is the first one we're going to cover. Like literally, you just have to download the thing and extract it. But especially for members, it's like, well, you can do that, or you can just get this, and it'll just literally, it's a self-extracting zip file. You just click on it. It will extract it. It'll run the installation. It'll do everything. You literally don't have to do anything. You just have to extract it. Okay. But this is the most simple. This is also our base mode. Okay. This is going to be the one that runs off of what's called PyTorch. So it's not going to have your Sage attention. It's not going to have your Tritons, your Flash attentions. This is the developer version of this. Okay. But with this as well, if you know what you're doing, you can get in there and change it up, which is what we're going to be going. That and leads us into this next one called the Windows Manual Install. So this is kind of like our ComfyUI install, which, you know, you can get a free Comfy installation by going to comfy.getgoingfast.pro. It's a manual script. So this one is actually going to have Triton. It's going to have Sage attention. It's going to have Flash attention and all your accelerators in there. Okay, so it'll go a little bit faster. All of this stuff has Tcache attached to it, which is really a neat. It speeds it up. It extends the frames. But anyway, the Windows Manual one is probably what we're going to spend the most time walking through. And then, just as an added bonus, right? We are actually going to let's see where this is at. We're actually going to talk about a ComfyUI installation as well. So Kijai, that guy is just on top of it. Yo, want to interview you someday, Kijai. So reach out, man, and let's see your face. We want to see your face. You know, that kind of thing. So, so we're going to go through the ComfyUI installation on this as well, so you can get this going in here. Although I'm going to be honest, I think the whole purpose of this is the ease of use that comes through just using the app. Okay, I think this is what's amazing about this, is just get it going and you've got a Gradio App. So ComfyUI, it's like, yeah, you know, okay, because we've already got HoneyOne, we've got one. The point for me is going to be how easy the app is. Okay, because that's what I really want to do. I'm thinking about a lot of you out there that are just like, I just want to put in a picture of a dog and make it run. You know, I just want a pretty girl and I want her to dance. And you don't want to get into all this stuff. You want to be able to go to Walmart, buy a TV, plug it into your Xbox, and it works. And so for me, that's why things like the Gradio app are just awesome, because really, you're going to go to the Get Going Fast page, get the thing, click it, it's going to go, and then you're able to do this stuff. And it's very simple. Okay, So before we do get into that, though, let's talk a little bit about what Framepack is and what it is not. So there are some, there's talk going around about, it just shows that people don't totally understand what this is. So we're going to address that now. So very simply, let's get over here and take a look at it again. Framepack is not a new model, right? So like people are like, oh, well, isn't a lot of people saying like, well, isn't this just HunYuan? This is like Yuan 2.1, right? And so almost as if to say like, well, who cares? Because we already have the model. And let me tell you, it is. It's based off of the HunYuan model. Now the HunYuan model is incredible. It came out. You could do very detailed stuff. It's not safe. It's got an NSFW ability for it, if that's your thing. Just really, I would say, was the best video generator that came out. So this is based off of that. So the stuff you're getting, it's not new in the sense like, oh man, guy spent $1 million making a brand new model. No, he took a model that already exists and he trained it in certain ways and he used it. Okay, and he made an app. So what we're looking at with Framepack is an app that we're using. Okay, that's kind of why the ComfyUI stuff is cool. But for my money, for what I'm seeing, the cool thing about it is that we have an app. Like I can get a kit to build a TV, and I can do all the soldering and all this, but what's cool about TVs is that I can just go to Walmart and buy a TV and plug it into my Xbox and it works. That's Framepack, okay? So Framepack, first of all, it's not anything necessarily new, but it is taking what we already had and putting it in a manner which is highly accessible, okay? And it does it good, okay? So another cool thing about this, if you've played with other models, you'll try to build something and maybe the image doesn't come out very good, or the person moves and all of a sudden they're jumping, they're jittering to here, or back in the day, we would do, what was it, animated diff, and the background is changing constantly, or maybe the person's hand, you got a third hand, and we're like, whoa, this is what we got. It's still incredible. This is so smooth the way stuff works. It just the animations, they don't jump, the things stay consistent. There's a consistency, there is a smoothness about this app that is absolutely mind-boggling. Okay, so again, he took something that is big that we already had and he turned it into something that we can use, that the masses of people can use. Elias Veal, I don't know who you are, but good job. I mean, wow, dude, like you did it again. Okay, so that's why I think this is actually going to be a staple. This is just like SD Forge or Focus. There's going to be better stuff than this. There's going to be improvements, but dude just broke the ground. Okay, and it was funny. Last week, High Dream came out, and Uno Flux, and this just, in my mind, this overshadows it. This is the it's like 3 movies coming out, and they're all great movies, but one of the movies just overshadowed. The others aren't going to perform as well because the third one that got released is just freaking amazing, and that's this. Okay, so first of all, it's not a model. The second is that people say, isn't this just image to video? Well, yes, right. But again, just like we're talking about, it's not just image video, it's very well done image to video. Okay? So, yeah, you're going to be able to use Yuan 2.1. I will tell you, I think Yuan 2.1 has better animation than this. I think you can get a lot wider breadth of animation with Yuan 2.1, but this is going to actually put out a more solid product. So I'm going to show you here again. We can go back over to our our Kiss and Ninja Turtles, and that's really good. I really like this one. I think this one turned out really well. Okay, this is the original, right? And then and it. So Yuan 2.1, this is classic Yuan 2.1 stuff, but this was done in Framepack. Okay, but then we go over here. You get some stuff with. Where did we go? This one. This is not that impressive. it's like, okay, whatever, you got some motion, it's not a lot. So sometimes things like this happen. I've noticed. I had another image, my famous, what's what's her name, the dating lady, dating Travis Kelce, Swifty, Taylor Swift kissing a Ninja Turtle, and it's just an incredible amount of stuff. And I threw it into this, and I couldn't get anything more than just a little movement. So it is funny. Some things don't do very well, but then other things get really nice movement as well. So that's that. Okay, so what's the next thing? What is this app? Okay, the other thing about this app is it's, again, we're going to go back to the idea of consistency. What he has done with this, let's go over to the actual repo here, is he has made this so that no matter how big you're making the video, it's going to always take the same amount of time, okay? And we're going to we're going to talk about it here. So you know how like you'll be making a video, let's say, and you make like a 3-second video and you're like, okay, that took me so long. And then you go, well, I guess, let's pump up the, let's pump the length out to 5 seconds. And then all of a sudden it's just like, it not only doubles the time, it like you're like, oh my God, it took me 3-4 minutes to do this one at 3 seconds, but then to go 5 seconds, it took 20 minutes, So he's gotten rid of that. Okay, and essentially how he has done that is by, where does it say down here? There's the word multivariant is used. Let's see if we can find that. Essentially here we go. It's invariant. So Framepack compresses input context to a constant length. And this is going to be the key that we're going to look at. So that the generation workload is invariant to video length. So in other words, he says, we're going to make he's optimized the app to work within, say, this box. Or maybe let's take this piece of paper, and this piece of paper has length on it, okay? So from here to here, this is what we're going to work within. So this is like a 3-second video. So it says, okay, well, I'm going to have to slice this, bop, into bits to make a 3-second video. And he says, okay, great. Well, what if we want to make a 10-second video? Okay, well, you would normally think, well, we're going to expand this out, right? Make it even bigger. Well, no, what we're going to do is we're going to keep the same side from beginning to end. But what we're going to do is maybe we'll make, God, I get so turned around with this camera. We're going to do smaller slices. So we're still fitting within the same framework, but the slices are small. I want to make a 1-minute video. Okay, well, we're going to need really small slices, right? But if I made a 1-second video, I could do big slices, okay? So the point being that irregardless of irregardless or regardless, I can't remember. So regardless of the length of video that you're wanting to do, it's going to all take the same amount of time. But that does mean that a 3-second video is going to have a higher quality than a 10-second video. So even though they've both taken the same amount of time to generate, the 10-second video, to get it to fit in that box, they have to compress it a bit. They have to take away precision, right? So you can put as many spoonfuls as you want into this thing, but each spoonful is going to be a little, if you're going to put 20 spoonfuls in it, you're going to have to, that spoonful is going to have to be a little bit less, right? But if you have 3 spoonfuls, you get big scoops, okay? So I'm using a spoon to put sand into a box, right? So I can use the spoon as many times as I want, but the amount of sand is going to decrease or increase depending on the number of scoops, because the box will take the same amount of sand no matter what. Okay, so does that make sense? That's what he's done. That's what is so good about this app. Okay, that's why it works for pretty much anybody, is because he has figured out a way to make it consistent. I think consistent is the word that we're looking at. So that's what this app is. That's why this app is state of the art. Listen, there are haters out there. No matter what, someone can come out, paint the Mona Lisa, and they would be like, "Well, isn't that just a lady sitting in a chair?" Well, yeah, it's a lady sitting in a chair, but it's the point of the painting of the Mona Lisa itself that makes it great. And so I'm not saying that this is the Mona Lisa of art, but I'm just saying that haters are going to hate, okay, and criticizers are going to criticize. As for you, you want this app. This is the this is a big boy. This is a big app. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into getting this thing installed. Okay, so first things first, over here at GetGoingFast.pro, again, we've already been here, but you can see this is the Framepack installers. Got the portable, the manual, and the Linux install over here. So if you are a member, you can actually just go ahead and click here, and you can get access to this, and then you can download all of those. So everything we're going to be doing is literally as simple as getting this. Again, the portable is the absolute easiest. It's a self-extracting zip. You just click it, and it will it'll actually do everything, and the absolute easiest. Okay, you've got the manual installer, which again is just going to be as simple as extracting it and running the install, and it's going to go ahead and set up all your accelerators. There are certain things that you have to have done on your machine. Okay, as always, Get Going Fast is not a one-click solution. It is a get your system set up properly, and then all of these solutions are going to work for you. So you got to make sure you have your CUDA 12. You know, we suggest you get CUDA 12.8 on your system. Okay, you need your mini conda. You're going to need your Python. You're going to need your Git. All these things are going to require that kind of stuff. Okay, and then we've got the Linux thing here. So if you're running a Linux thing, you should know what you're doing. So but that's all there for you as well, and you can play with the code. So first thing we're going to go through here is this portable install. So this is the absolute easiest way to get this going. So to do this, all you're going to have to do is go to your Google thing, you know, just go to your Google search or whatever, and just type Framepack. All right, then it's going to bring up this thing that says Elias Veal. Okay, so we're just going to click it, and that's going to bring you over to the GitHub repository. We just want to scroll down, okay, and what we're going to do is get down here to installation, and all you got to do is just click this. Okay, you're going to click this. It's going to bring up, let's do this really quickly for you. Going to bring up a save to window. So then all you got to do is go to your drive, say like your D drive or wherever, create a folder. I usually suggest having something called AI tools. Okay, something like that. You don't want spaces in it, so we'll click into that, and then just hitting the save button. Okay, so that's going to go ahead and download it. Now this is about a 1.5 gigabyte install. Okay, so it takes a little bit of time to download depending on your internet. And I'll tell you what, I am at my family's house here for the holidays, and I miss my fast internet at home. So I am feeling for a lot of you that don't have rip blazing stuff. But that's going to download, and then what we're going to do is we're going to pop over to our File Explorer. And from here, all we're going to have to do is just extract this. So you just right-click it. Now, I always suggest that you have WinRAR. Let me go back to my desktop view here. I always suggest you have WinRAR just because it's the easiest to use. Just right-click, go to WinRAR, and we want to extract to here. Okay, now I'm going to explain like what happens is if we extract it just normal, it'll create a folder called Framepack C126, and then inside of that it'll have another folder. So you end up clicking into a folder, then clicking into another folder, and so it just gets weirdly nested. That's the term is used, called nested. Okay, you got one within one within one. We don't need all that. So what I like to do is I just right-click it, go WinRAR, extract here. Okay, and it will take a while because this is a large extraction. But notice it's going to create this folder, okay? And then inside this, we're going to have our stuff, okay? If we had done it the normal way, it would create a folder called this, and then inside of it, it would have this folder. But really, we're going to let this extract, and then all we need to do is click Run. When this is done, all you're going to have to do is click Run. It's going to download the models, and I'm telling you, there's about 30 gigabytes worth of models that it's going to download, so it takes some time to do that. Okay, but Once it's done, that's it. Okay, that's literally the install. So again, the self extractor, what it does is it does the unzip. You know, it just, you click it, tell it where it wants to go. It does the unzipping. It goes ahead, runs the run, downloads the models. So this is really easy. But again, if I understand, not everyone feels comfortable even with little stuff like that. Okay, and then just click run. So now that's done. You would click run, and it would go. Now this is the version that is does not have all the accelerators in it. Okay, so you'll run this, it'll be great, but if you want to use the Sage Attention, we're going to need to go to this next part, which is the manual setup. So just think of it like, you know, you can buy a sports car that you don't know anything about, and that's great. It's a sports car, it's going to run. You just got to take it to the mechanic if it's got a problem. But when you work on it yourself, then you know, you understand how the inner workings are. You can tweak it, add your turbos and all this kind of stuff. So that's the manual. So we'll move on to that now. And while we're waiting for that to be done, I encourage you to go to YT Music or any of your other major streaming platforms. Do a search for Jim Day and the Better Stories and listen to good music like this. Okay, so to start our manual install, we're going to go back to our Framepack GitHub repository, which again, we just get to by typing Framepack. Okay, it's going to be in your Google results, but you can always type in the name EliasVL as well if you're not able to find it. And we want the GitHub repo. Notice it's only 4 days old. This is new stuff. You guys getting in on it, which means that this is going to be getting better. Okay, so at any rate, what we're going to have to do is our usual sort of thing. We're going to need to git clone the repository. We're going to need to go ahead and set up our toolkits and all of that good stuff. So let's go ahead. First thing we're going to do is we're going to clone the repository. Now, I've said this a million times. You don't want to clone a repository unless the instructions tell you to. Now, we're going to look down here. I don't believe that this really has great install instructions. So yeah, so it's going to get down here and it's going to give you some Linux stuff, but notice it's not going to be mentioning your virtual environments. It's not going to be mentioning your git cloning, all that. So a lot of this stuff you have to just kind of know, all right, that you need to do that. And if you've been following around with the Git Going Fast at all, we do this every day, every installation. You know, you do the same thing 100 times, so it just becomes natural. So we know that we need to do these things. So let's go ahead and we're going to go up here to where this is, and we're going to copy that out of there. So I'll just Control A, Control X kind of thing. Okay, so let's head over to our command terminal. Okay, and now we've got our folder that we're going to be doing this in. Okay, let's see where I'm at here. All right, there we go. So you create your folder, you get into there. Let's get this ugly fella out down here somewhere, maybe. All right. And now what we're going to do is we have Git installed, so we're just going to type Git. That's the name of our app, and Git is an app that pulls stuff down from the internet. And then we're just going to hit Control V. So Control V puts the address that the files are at. So we're telling Git to clone this repository. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and enter. It's going to clone it into there, and it's so fast. So if we type dir, which stands for directory, we're going to see it created a folder called Framepack. Okay, now you guys should know by now that we do a couple different types of virtual environments. First thing we need to do, we need to set up our clean space, but we have a mini Conda virtual environment, which has its benefits, and we have our Python virtual environments, which have its benefits. We're going to use a Python one for this. So what we're going to do, typically, you can put it wherever you want, but typically it's kind of standard. You just put it inside of the folder that you're working with. So we're going to type CD, that stands for change directory, and we're going to type Framepack. There it is. Boom. Now if we type dir, you're going to see there's all the files. So inside of here, we're going to go ahead and create a virtual environment. So we're just going to go ahead and I want you to know you need to have Python 3.10 for the installation we're going to be doing. Now, as you get better with this, you can use different Pythons, but for almost everything you're doing with AI at this point, 3.10 is what you need. So one way you can check your Python version is type the word Python and go -- version. Okay, and that will bring up something that looks like this. If that says 3.12, it means that your environmental variables are not properly set up and you need to go into that and change that. I've got 100 videos about, not 100. I got several videos that explain how to do this. Go to the YouTube page and just do a search for Python. You'll find something that will show you how to fix that. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and set up our virtual environment. So we're going to call Python. The first word is almost always the command. It's like it gets the computer's attention. Python? You said Python? Okay. And we're going to put a dash in. We're going to say, I want you to use one of your functions. So Python's the app, and it has a bunch of supporter functions. We're going to say, run this function as if it's an app itself. Okay. And we're going to, the function we want to call is Vim. That stands for virtual environment. So we say, Python, I want you to run Vim as an app, is what we're saying. Then I'm going to give it a name. I could call it Jim. I could call it Fred. I could call it, my best env ever, love, lol, TGIF, whatever. But whatever you name it, you have to use. So typically what we do is we just call it Vim. Then everyone who sees it, because it's going to create a folder, everyone who sees it knows what it is. So we're going to say Python run Vim and create a folder named Vim that has a virtual environment. So we just press enter, okay? And it will take a moment to click around here, and then it will be done before we know it. Boom, there it is. So I'm going to type CLS to clear my screen. Now watch, if I type dir, you're going to see now we have a folder called Vim. So inside this folder, I can look and so I can go cd vim. I can see, it's got a bunch of other stuff. There's a folder here called scripts. You go cd scripts. Now you don't have to do this. I'm just showing you. But inside of here, look at, there's our virtual environment. We can activate it. Okay, so it's got all this. This is for that PS1. If you ever see anything with a PS1, that's PowerShell. But anyway, so I'm going to go cd ... /.. That means take me back 2 directories. This is back to where we created the Vim folder. So what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to activate it. I'm going to go call. So call means I'm telling it, say, hey, listen, I want you to run something. And then I'm going to say where it's at. Say, well, inside the Vim directory, and I put a backslash because we're using Windows. If we were using Linux, you do a // but we're using Windows, use a backslash. Tell it's a backslash because the top of it's leaning to the left. Okay, I'm going to say inside the Vim folder, there's another folder called scripts. And then inside that folder, there is an application called Activate. There's a bat file. So it's going to go ahead and run that. And then notice this. Now we're back here, but we're in our virtual directory. So if I type CLS, we're still in our virtual directory. So essentially now we're in a safe environment. It's like I'm going to paint. I've got really nice carpet and I'm going to paint the wall, but I need to put a tarp down because I don't want paint falling off the wall and getting on my carpet. Okay. So also you could say it's similar and other thing. It's like the virtual environment also keeps your project safe from stuff on your main computer. So if we have to install a certain version of something, but my main system has another version, without the virtual environment, they would be conflicting all the time. I'd change something and then this app's not going to work. Now this app, I change it for this, and now this app doesn't work. So we create a safe space in which we can put our own stuff. Virtual environment. Okay? So we have now done that. We are in our virtual environment. We're in our Framepack. We have Git cloned it. So now we need to go ahead and start installing it. So we're going to go ahead and pop back over to our browser, and we can actually see we can steal some of the stuff from the Linux installation here. can see that they have us installing Torch, Torch Vision, Torch Audio. Now, we're not going to need Torch Audio. That just tells me that what he did was he just copied it from the page. But we can get this here. We can also get that by going to our browser and just typing Torch install. And it brings up the PyTorch page. And you can pick your CUDA version. Now, even if you have 12.8, we're going to pick 12.6 because notice there is no 12.8, which means we're in the realm of nightly stuff when you get to 12.8. And we'll address that here in a second. But what he put there is the same thing as you got here. So we're going to head and grab that, and we're going to go back to our command terminal. If we can find what we did with it. Oh, there we go. And we're just going to go ahead and pip install that into there. Okay, so that's going to go ahead and do its thing. Now, okay, notice here we've got some issue here with typing extensions. All right, this is a really common. So what we need to do here, it kind of threw me off. I was going to show you something else here, but what we need to do is a simple little thing, this. So that happens because sometimes what are called our setup tools aren't done properly, or we need to upgrade. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and do this, and we're going to type Python -m. So again, we're calling Python. We're doing the -m, saying, hey, you've got a function that I want you to run like an app, and it's pip. Okay, pip is our package installer, and we're going to say we want you to upgrade yourself. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and run that. And this is something common you can do at the beginning of all of your installations, and that should actually fix the problem. Go through all this again, blah, 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 blah. Okay, and okay, so while that's doing its thing there, I'm going to show you over here. I'm not an expert on the 5090. I don't have a 5090. I have a 4090, but I do know that with the 5090, there are certain requirements that come with your Torch. And I think they have to use the nightly stuff. So if you need to use nightly stuff, go over to cognibuild.ai, okay? And it's going to bring you to my site, and then just go ahead and click on the blog, okay? From here, you're going to see something that says attention masks used with Framepack. Just click on that, and you're going to notice that it has two different torches. We're going to come back to this page later, by the way, so keep this open because we're going to need this. We're going to be installing Flash Attention, Deep Seed, Sage Attention, all this good stuff. But here is actually a pip install that you can use with your 5090. If you specifically need 12.6, just change that number from a 6 to an 8, and you will actually be good. Okay, so let's click back over to our command terminal, and notice it's still installing. This is a big install. This other one, when it aired out, notice it aired out fast. Okay, this one is taking its time, so we'll just pause here for a second. Oh, nope, I guess we won't pause. So it's done. So that was, we upgraded our pip. Okay, if you see typing extensions, we upgraded the pip, and then everything worked good. So we have that in there now. We need to now move on to our next thing that we're going to install. So let's do that. And that is going to be our Flash Attention. So this is kind of the order that I'm doing this stuff in. So to get your now, here's the issue, okay? But before we even get into this, I'm going to tell you these things are very particular, and they're built on what are called wheels, okay? So a wheel is basically like saying a very particular installation that is set over here like I think it's called a wheel, a WHL file, okay? So let's say if your computer's configured like this, here's a wheel that will work. If your computer's configured like this, here's a wheel that will work. Okay, so that's one of the reasons I would get going fast. We're always saying that make sure that your system is set up correctly, particularly when you're following these tutorials, because if you, because we spend time thinking about what's the way that works the best across the board. Like you can't get one thing that works for every single case study, but you can find things that work for the vast majority of. And so the setups we use in helping you get your system going typically work well for a lot. So they work a lot for these wheels. That's why we work with Python 3.10. We've gone up to our CUDA 12.8. You know, we have these different things. So we're going to start installing these things, but they're going to depend on your system setting up. So first of all, let's go back to our browser. And what we're going to do is go back to this, to my blog here. And we're going to see, we got a few different things here. So here's our flash attention. We're just going to go ahead and copy this. Okay. I'm actually copy it with the quotation marks. So highlight it, copy it, but let's take a look at it. We're going to have it pip install. So pip is our package installer. Say from this place, and notice this is the URL. This is the website. But notice we get into here, it gets particular stuff. Torch 2.6. That means 12.6. P310. That means Python 3.10. Okay, same thing over here. If you are running this and you don't have these things, it's not going to work. It's going to say the wheel's not supported on your system. So that's why get your system set up. Come over here. These things will work. So let's go ahead and get our flash attention installed. Okay, boop, boop, boop. Go back over to here and just paste that in there so we can see that we're in our virtual environment. And so that's going to go ahead and grab that. But then now I do want to point something out here. Notice in here, up here where it says this for, and it's got this percentage sign. If you're putting this into your own bat script, you're going to have to put 2 of these these signs, and that's because in a script that's called it's called a literal, and so to kind of escape it and use it as a character, we have to put 2 of them. But if you copy 2 of them over into your command line, it won't work. So you know, if you're running it automated, you've got to have 2. If you're just doing it by hand, you got to have 1. It's this little freebie for you there. So that's going to go ahead and download, install. You can see my internet is slow as molasses where I'm at right now, but it's going to go ahead and install that. Great. Okay, so we've got our flash intention. Let's go ahead now and do our deep seed. So let's go back to the browser. Okay, and from over here we can scroll back down, and let's just copy this. Pip install that, highlight it, Control C. Back to our command line terminal, yoing it up like the yo boys we are, and hit Control V, and we're going to have a similar thing. Going to go ahead and install that. Okay. While we're waiting for that, we can go ahead and get our Sage attention. So let's pop back onto the browser where that's finishing up, and we'll have the same thing. Pip install Sage attention. Now, notice again, it's Python 3.10. It's CUDA 12.6. If you're going to use 12.8 on this, you got to change these numbers. Okay, that's what you got to do. If you're running Linux, all you got to do is pip install Sage attention. So a lot easier on Linux than it is on Windows, but then you got to use Linux. So we're going to go back over to here. I'm going to hit CLS just to clear the screen. Control V and it up again. Okay. So it goes ahead, same thing, downloads, simple, pimple. All right, so we've got Sage attention. Let's go ahead and get our Triton installed. Now, Triton is one of these things, if you are not running CUDA 12, it's just not going to work. In fact, none of this stuff's going to work if you're not running CUDA 12. So that's why we finally upgraded. For about a year, we were using 11.8 because that's just what everything was on. But it went ahead and times are a-changing. So let's go back to our command terminal, and same thing. We're going to just paste this in there. Pip install pre-Triton Windows. So this is the command that you need to use. We're going to go ahead and do that. And what's going on here? Okay, let's take a look, see what's going on. Okay, and so the issue was when I posted up there, you'll notice it only put 1 dash here, and actually we need 2 dashes. So I'll fix that on the blog there. That does that, or you'll put dash, and when it changes it over. So got to make sure that this is correct. We're going to pip install this -u, and then we're going to put the pre version, and then we're going to Triton Windows, and it goes ahead and installs that for us. Okay, so now we're going to move on. And we're going to install something that is called Torch AO. So let's go ahead, and what Torch AO, we already installed Torch. What Torch AO does is it's kind of like a speed pack. Okay, so it's like saying we've installed Torch, but here's kind of some behind the scenes tweaks. It's like taking your car to a guy and he's like, yeah, I got your car fixed, but I'll tell you what, I can do a few little small changes if you'd like. And you're like, yeah, hell yeah, do it up. So that's what Torch AO does. And all we got to do with this is pip install Torch AO. That's just a basic thing. It doesn't need anything special, and it goes ahead and does it. Okay, now we're getting into the big boys here. We're going to install the requirements file. So if you've done any of this kind of stuff, you know that there's typically always a requirements.txt folder, just like this. So let's go ahead and really quickly take a look at what's in there. I'm going to type requirements.txt, and we'll see it's got accelerator, diffuser, transformer, Gradio, all this good stuff. Okay, one of the reason I like to search for this is I want to make sure that Torch itself isn't in there, because we already installed Torch. And so a lot of times what happens is we'll install the Torch we need, and then the requirements will have the Torch we don't need. And so it actually will undo, and it causes problems. But this one is great. So we're going to type pip install. So pip is our package installer. We're saying, hey, pip, what do I want you to do? I want you to install something. But, hey, I'm sending it a -R. This is like saying, hey, but special instructions. -R. I want you to read it from a file. And the name of the file is requirements.txt. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And it's going to go through this and that thing that we just looked at, and it's going to go ahead and create or download the dependencies on each one of those. Okay, so this takes varying time. A lot of this stuff is cached on my system, you'll see. So it's already downloaded, but again, depending on how much of stuff you've done, you might have to wait for stuff to download. So we'll go ahead and pause this while it finishes up, and we'll be right back. Okay, so that's done. So last thing we're going to do is, this is a gated repository. So that means that you have to get permission to use some of these models. So we're going to go ahead and install something that's called the Hugging Face Hub. Okay, so we'll go ahead and put this in. Actually, we'll add this as well to the blog, so you can grab this as well. And basically what this does is it gives you access through your command terminal to be able to access the models. Now, when you're running this, if you get an error that says that it's a gated repository, all you have to do is follow the link. Okay, it'll give you a link, and then you go to the Hugging Face site and you just ask for permission. You just got to give them like your email address and, you know, your name, what you're going to use it for, and you just put personal use or whatever, and then you'll have access. And then all these other things are just ways to help the models download, because it's 30 gigabytes worth of models that you're going to be downloading. So we're going to pip install Hugging Face Hub, and then by putting a space there, we're saying we're also going to download IPY widgets, and then put another space and HF transfers. That's going to help the speed. Again, I'll put this up on the blog there. It wasn't there before, but just so that you can remember how to do this. Okay, so we'll go ahead and install those. And once that's done, we actually should be in business. And with that, we are installed. So let's go ahead and see about running this thing. Type dir. Now, I'm going to start to run it, but I'm going to stop it because it's going to download a lot of files. I don't need it to download. I've already downloaded. But we're going to go ahead and type Python. And we're going to see we've got the demo Gradio PY. So you can type it or you can highlight it and copy it. But Python is our it's our interpreter. So we're saying we've got code in this .py file that's written in a particular manner, which is Python. And so we're going to have the Python interpreter read it. So we'll just go ahead and do that, noticing we're in the virtual environment. That means every time you run this, you need to activate the virtual environment. Okay, but we'll go ahead and hit that. Got all of our files in here. It'll take a second to kind of, it's reading stuff, interpreting it, throwing it to the machine language, and it'll start to download the models. When it's done, we will have something that looks like this. Okay. Now, to use this, really simple. It's really simple. it's going to come up here. Let's just let me see if this is actually still running in my back. Okay, yeah. Let me hit reload. Okay, this is what it's going to pop up like. This is so simple, guys. This is what makes this app so incredible. We're just going to click here. Okay, you go find yourself a picture that you want to put in there, and then you prompt it. That's it. Okay, and then you hit the start generation. Now I'll talk about the accessories down here, but that's really simple. A lot of people are like saying, well, how do I get a good thing? This app is so easy. I could literally just type in here, say, woman takes off her hat. Okay, now obviously larger prompts are truly better. You could be like, the red-haired cowgirl stands out in the field of lilies and lilacs. As she contemplates upon life, she removes her hat in a solemn thing. So you could type those kind of things, which typically help. But with this app, you can literally just say, woman takes off her hat, and she'll take off her hat. Okay? I put in a picture of a guy there standing there. I said, and I just used one word, running, and then it made an image of the feller running. Okay, so this is all you have to do. Now, I want to show you down here. It uses this Tcache. So Tcache is supposed to use faster speeds, and it says it can affect the quality, but I don't think you're going to notice a quality difference. Okay, your seed here. Your seed is basically saying like if right now it's set to 31337. Okay, which means that if I put the same words in here and I hit this every time, I'll get the same result. So if you find a result you like, you can always just grab the seed and write it down. You save the prompt, save the seed, and it will always work. Okay, but what you do is you can just change this every time so that you're getting a different video. Okay, here's your video length. So again, it defaults, I think actually I set it to 5. I think it defaults to like a 3 or 4 second. But again, it really doesn't matter how long you want to make this. It's just the quality is going to get less and less and less. If it takes you 20 minutes to do a 3-second video, it's going to take you 20 seconds to do a 10-second video, or 20 minutes to do a 10-second video, or a 50, 1 minute long video. Okay, but the quality is going to decrease each time. Okay, because it's using the same amount of resource regardless of things. So it's like you got again, we talked about this, but it's like you got a turkey, and you could feed 3 people with that incredible amount, but you could feed 20 people, but each one of those people is going to get a little bit less, right? Feed as many people as you want with that turkey, but everyone's going to a smaller portion. Okay, your steps again have to do with going over things. So it's like a rough draft. So like you're turning a paper into your teacher, and you do your first rough draft, second rough draft, third rough draft. Each time you do a rough draft, it takes more time, but you decide on how polished you want it to be. Higher numbers of steps is a more polished video. 30, 40, maybe 50 is like a production level polishing. At least, I never go that high because I'm gonna get going fast. I just want to get stuff done that I can put on social media, that I can show you guys. I don't need that typically high of a quality, but so you could even drop that down to 20. If you really just want to do it fast, get stuff out, pop it to 10. It's not going to be really high quality, but it'll be faster. Okay, so don't mess with this. Your CFG scale, that's like when you're doing images, it's kind of like how well the machine is. It's like a literal scale. How literal is the machine being? So just don't mess with that. If you're having slow things here, there's GPU inference. You can put this higher. So this, if your machine is really struggling with getting it going, or you're getting out of memory errors, make this number higher. Okay. If you got a good VRAM thing, don't make it higher. You could try taking it slower. You can play with it, but you don't really need to do anything out of it. And then again, this is just kind of a compression thing. So at the end of it, when it makes the videos, it uses FFmpeg, and it puts all of the still images together. It compresses them, so you can play around with that. But all of that you don't really have to do. This is pretty much plug and play. Grab an image, woman takes off her hat, start generation. And what is really cool about this, so I'd like to do it, but I'm a bit afraid because we're doing I guess we could just let her ride. But because we're doing video over here, maybe I'd do a 1-second video. I don't want it to bog down my system. because I've got a lot of AI stuff going on with these videos. But you'll hit start generation. Let's let it ride. Let's see what happens. And what you're going to find out is that it starts at the end. Okay, so again, because we're looking at something and we're saying, you know, this is the size that we're using, right? And say this is the end point over here. So it says, okay, let's define the end first. So we're going to build everything over here. That's what it's doing up here, okay? So it's actually setting the boundary. And then it goes back at the beginning and it fills the rest of it in. So that's actually kind of cool. And it also tells the machine, this is where we're going to finish with the image too, so that you don't end up with a video that they're doing something, all of a sudden then a bird appears and a lake appears. You're like, what the hell? Like, it just goes off the rail. So it actually kind of not only sets the framework for the resource that we're going to use. It says we've set all, this is we're not going past this, guys. But it also shows you where the video is going to, what the end of the video is going to look like. And then everything is just building up to that point. Okay, so that's up here. You'll see as it's running, you'll see that it starts to it'll show, like, say you're doing like a 6-second video, you'll see like the first 1.5 seconds for a while, but it's the end, and you're like, oh, is that the whole thing? It's only 1 second, it's only 2 seconds. That's because it's showing parts. Okay, then it'll go back and it'll create the other parts. And so actually in your output folder you'll see several files that are made, but it takes all of them piece by piece and then it puts them into one giant thing. Okay, so there you have it. Right, so yeah, so look, we're doing a 2-second video, so this is the first 1 second that it's got, but it's going to keep working. But I can tell you already that this video isn't going to be what I want, because remember, it starts at the end. And so the end here is her just brushing her hat. She didn't take the hat off, probably because I didn't give her enough time. But what I could do at this point is I could be like, well, I already know that's not going to be what I want, so I'm just going to end the generation. Okay, so I can click the end generation, and it'll just cancel out. I still get to keep this video, but then I can reprompt it or give it more time to do what I want it to do. So very cool app. Okay, we're going to end that there. We're going to really quickly talk about how to do this in ComfyUI. So if you're not a ComfyUI person, you can beg out at this point. Want to thank you for being part of the video. And again, being members, be sure, remember, you can get all this over at the Get Going Fast page over here. If you don't want to do all that, you can just download them. There's the self-extracting exe. There's the Windows manual. That's what we just went through. So you can get all that over here. But now we're going to go ahead and I will show you quickly how to get this going in your ComfyUI. All right, so for our ComfyUI installation, as usual, we go to our hero Kijai over here, who has already put some stuff out. And again, he puts stuff out like instantaneously. He just gets it done so fast. He's got an excellent workflow, excellent mind to do these things. And because he does it so fast, it means that you get it working, but in another week's time, it's going to be improved upon even more. So to find this, what we're going to do is we're just going to type Framepack ComfyUI. Okay, there it is, yo. And we just click on the Kijai, brings it up to here. Okay, so what we, now he's going to, down here has a list of different models that we're going to need. So we're going to come back to these, but we're not going to worry too much about understanding what they are right off the bat. What we need to do is we're going to git clone this. So whenever we're installing something into ComfyUI, we know that we're installing custom nodes. So we're always going to repo the, we're always going to clone the repository. So we go up there, Control X, copy it. Now let's head over to our File Explorer. And what we look for here is the place that we have our Comfy installation. So you can tell whether you're doing your portable or whether you're doing your manual, you know that you've got a folder called ComfyUI. This is the same thing if you're using, what's the Swarm UI. You get under the backend, I think it's DL backend, you will find a folder called ComfyUI. Being out here is what we call being outside the ComfyUI folder. So we want to go inside the ComfyUI folder, and we're going to find this folder called Custom Nodes. Click it. Now, in here, these are all of our nodes. So nodes, of course, are they're Python code that is in a graphical, that's used in a graphical manner in our workflows. So from here, we're just going to type git clone, and we're just going to paste it in there. That's the URL. It's going to go ahead and do it, and then you'll get down here. It'll be at the bottom. I already installed it, but down here, it'll put it, and then you'll find it right over here. Where's mine? And there it is. Boy, I couldn't find that for the life of me, but there it is. So it installed it there. So first of all, that's all that we need to do. So then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and load up our ComfyUI as normal, and it will install this manually. So go to your run, click it run, whatever, and it's going to bring up your ComfyUI. So let's show you over here, browser. Okay. So it's going to bring up your ComfyUI. Now, you won't have the workflow. I've got the workflow loaded here, but you won't have it. So what you do is you click on your workflow button up here. Okay, and then you're going to just click on open. And let's do this really quickly. It's going to take you to something like this. And so go find where your installation is. You're going to go ComfyUI. You're going to go to where your custom nodes are. You're going to find the Framepack wrapper, and then under here you're going to see example workflows. So you're going to click that, okay, and then just double that up, and it's going to open up your workflow. So I really suggest that what you do with that is you just copy it into a more accessible place. So let's go ahead and take a look though at this. So everything is going to be set up. Notice it's going to have like old man upscale, so you have to grab your own image here, so click there, grab an image. Over here, you're going to have the prompt. So this is old man gets up, takes a walk on the beach. We're going to say cowgirl removes her hat and smiles at the camera. Okay, so now what I do is I click the run button. Now I've already fixed this, but when you first go you're going to hit run. Oh, well, here we go. This is great, actually. It's going to throw up a bunch of errors. It's going to say like, hey, I don't have these models here. So this is what we got to do. You click that, and it brings up, notice it's got a red over it. This is a best friend, because now we know, oh, this is what I need. So we can scroll in here and say, oh, we need video VAE BF16 repack, safe tensors. So if we go back over to our Kijai site here, our wrappers, we can notice down here it says that we're going to need VAE and SIG-clip. So we can right click on this, go open link a new tab, and notice it's going to have everything here. So we can click our VAE. There's our file. Oh, there's our file. So all we got to do is just click this download button. Okay. And then what we do is you go ahead and put it over here. We'll go back to our, when you're choosing where to save it, you'll go back to your ComfyUI folder. Okay, so here's outside the Comfy. You go into here. Okay, you'll click your models, and then you're going to choose VAE, and you're going to save it into there. Okay, easy peasy. Now, if we go back to our browser again, we can click it. Once it's in there, you can click it, and you can choose it. Oh, it says Hunyuan Video VAE, so I'm going to grab this one here. All right, so there it is. Okay, now we go to our next red one. Okay, so it says we need the model. Okay, now how I got this one, what I did is I just went ahead, when you click your run, brings up this error, and you're going to see here it says value not there, the model. I just went ahead and went like this. I left that HiVid behind because that's a folder. I grabbed this Framepack I2V, blah, 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 all the way to safe tensors. Just hit Control C, and then we can go to our browser, Control V, and it's going to bring up Kijai stuff. So same thing. Click it, there it is. Click the download button, and then from over here, what we're going to do is we're going to put it in the folder called Diffusion Models. Okay, so same thing, and that's going to be 27 gigabytes or something like that. Okay, so we get that, and then we choose it, and it clicks it up. Notice it got rid of that thing that said HiVid, because that was the folder he had it in. Now I can scroll back, see if there's other red areas. Okay, if you you'll do the same thing for all this. If you don't have the right text encoders or something, if you don't have the right clip stuff, it will show up red. And then all you got to do is head back over to your KeyJai page here, and he's got all the links. Okay, so if it's, we got to get this one, this SIG clip vision. Okay, you're going to download that same way. You'll just click on it, and that's going to go over here into a folder. We had our diffusion models, had our VA. We're going to put it in this one that says Clip Vision. If you don't have a Clip Vision folder, just go ahead and create it. You just right click and say add a new folder and then name it Clip Vision, and you're going to put your SIG clip in there. Okay, same thing. Then we can pop back to our browser. All this popping back and forth here. You know, then you can go ahead and click run again. If everything's going, it'll start to move. If you're missing another model, it'll turn red. Okay, so once you get this going, look at it, it's going to move through there. So you can see I made a couple things here already. That was a weird one. Kind of put a straw in his mouth before he drank, but whatever. We got the girl dancing. That turned out really good. So same thing. And then if you know ComfyUI, you know how to use ComfyUI. But I'm going to tell you again, I've already said this. To me, it's like, I don't know why bother with this in ComfyUI. Except for that, you know, I guess it could be a speed thing. You could use, again, yeah, that's true. Like you can use it in ComfyUI with a low amount of VRAM. So that's cool. But again, we've already got the app, and the app is magic. The app is plug and play. You get it going in there, you get it installed, you just go in there, put the image, do the thing. I love this app. It's the same reason I love Magic Quill. And people look at this and say, isn't that just in painting? Like, isn't it just like painting and saying add this thing? Well, yes, but it's done in such a fantastic, easy way that all of a sudden people that just want to do this stuff can do it. And, you know, just a little side soapbox here. The internet is so full of people that are they're just rotten and they're so critical, but just ignore them. What you want to do is figure out what you want to do and then just go do it and enjoy it. Like I said, there's always going to be someone paints the Mona Lisa and some person's just like, it's right. So that's just a lady in a chair. Like that's what you painted, a lady, and you're like, right. But it's the Mona Lisa. It's great. Right. So there's always going to be people that are critical, that are criticizers. Just ignore them and love what you're doing. And Framepack is one of these tools that is going to allow you just to love what you do, to play with it. Great app. Get it installed. You can get it over at Get Going Fast. You can just download it, extract it. You can follow this process to get the accelerators going. Everything is going to work great for you. Just go out and have fun. Okay, so we'll just pop on over to the browser really quick, see how our video turned out. And, so that's a nice video, nice quality. She obviously didn't do exactly what we said. We wanted her to remove the hat. So probably what I would do with that is just go over to the prompt, be a little bit more aggressive. So we've got cowgirl removes her hat, smells the camera. I'd probably put like, as she removes the hat, you can see her hair, blah, 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 blah. You know, or with her hand, she removes her hat, and in removing her hat, mention it multiple times is probably what I would do with that. But still, that's a nice, that's a good quality. Notice the consistency. Things aren't changing or popping in the background. That's a good video, but it took a little bit of time. But again, you make it longer, it's going to take the same amount of time regardless. So if you figure that you're willing to wait for a certain amount of time for a 4-second video, then you'd probably be willing to wait the same amount of time for a 10-second video. So go ahead and play with that. Have fun. Let me know how it works out for you. Hit us up on the Discord as usual. And with that, I think we will just give you a good hearty yo. Stay good to each other.